Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself on the planet, in the world, in the universe, whatever you term it. Welcome to another episode of Demystify Tech with yours truly, Samuel Adrani. In today's episode, we're going to do part two of where we left off last week. Last week was exciting. We ended up doing almost 2 hours of two different live streams. I started with a stream, my system was messing up, I had to pause and, kind of like start all over again. So today we're going to do part two, all about AI wars, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Mini, Operator, all the stuff. So if you missed last week's episode, right? In today's series or today's episode, I'm just going to go over what we did last week, walk you through the installation of some of the models locally, and then we will try to use it to do an automation. Yeah, I know I talk a lot about automation. We're going to try to use it to do some very nifty and interesting automation. So stick and stay with me if this sounds like something that's of interest to you. As you know, let's go for our montage. We'll be right back. Yes, it's the destination for the modding, the very, very modding developers channel. This is your channel. Welcome again to Demystify Tech with Sam. If it's the first time you're joining, my name is Samuel Adrani. I try to share technology good nerds, hands-on, talk discussions, break things, make things so that we all can learn. Today's episode is part two of what we left off last week. If this is your first time, I would really be glad if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and hey, anytime we go live, you can also join us with the goodness. Below are all my social media, handles. So if you feel like, following, asking any questions, that would be very interesting. So last week, we talked about DeepSeek, Qwen, OpenAI. Now there's Mini, there's deep reasoning, there's deep thinking. All these things happened last week. And I started showing you how to run these models locally. Um, Probably, a couple of days or just a week after, DeepSeek came out, there's been some countries that have officially banned the use of these DeepSeek, in as traffic coming into the countries or even in government, agencies. I know the Pentagon, US has done that. Pentagon has done that. I believe Australia and I think Italy as well has banned the use of DeepSeek in the country, citing, security reasons and all that. But you and I are not government at the moment. So you and I, you and I are not government at the moment. You and I are just tech geeks that try to figure out what's the best way to use this technology. So that's what we're going to do. And let's see. I just want to be sure my console is live so that I can get all these things running. So in today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go over the the tools that I use to run DeepSeek. If you're concerned about the privacy and all that, I'm going to show you the tools that I use to run them locally, and then we'll try to do a local integration. With a very big to show you how to use it to do some automation as well. So if this sounds like something you want to do with me, then get ready and let's go and have that fun. Um, I want to say a big welcome to all of you on the stream, wherever you're joining me from. Welcome to the stream. It's good to have you here. Before we get into it, I want to give a special shout out to my dad. Yesterday happens to be his birthday. Happy 75th, old man. Thank you for, all the support, the training, and I probably want to use this opportunity to say that we have come. I have come. When I say we, I'm just making a reference to to myself, that I've come this far because of my parents. They saw the potential in me at a quite an early stage. I started programming in DOS and doing QBasic at when I was in grade 4, or what we call primary 4, and that has it's been like that through my primary school, elementary, JSS, into the high school, and that's what I did, college, and living life, and that's what I'm doing now. So I want to say a big thank you to my dad for that. Hey, I won't be able to follow. Happy to see you kicking. Hey, Dave, awesome. It's been a while. Hope you're doing great. Yeah, it's good. Don't worry. You can always you can always catch the replay on my channel. So happy to see you. Happy to see you, man. Happy to see you, my brother. So we are going to be talking about running DeepSeek and other AI models locally, right? And it's interesting that in the face of a lot of government or agencies or people, saying, hey, it's not good for us. Well, it's open source. So that means that you have the potential and ability to run it locally in your environment, right? And just making sure that you are using it to do your own thing. So I'm going to go over the tools again. Let's bring there you go. So I'm going to bring up and let's do this. While we are at it, I also want to take this opportunity to sensitize you about fraud wall. So if you've ever tried to, if you've ever been scammed on the mobile money platform in trying to send, how do you call it? You're trying to send money and then probably send it to a wrong person and the person doesn't, return it, or someone is impersonating, has hijacked someone's WhatsApp account and is impersonating them and trying to, take money from you, or someone is just trying to scam you, or someone has already actually been scammed you, right? Worry no more. I present to you Fraud Wall. So what is Fraud Wall? Fraud Wall is a tool that myself and the team have developed where you can actually go check or verify if a number you're about to transact mobile money transaction with is actually fraud or not. And also it's a platform where you can actually report these numbers of people who fraud you or defraud you. So let fraud wall be your first point when you try to, before you do any transactions. So it's fraudwall.ai. I'm going to put the link down there for you to see, but this is this fraudwall.ai. We have the website and then we have the Telegram bot. So go look for, if you're on Telegram, go look for fraudwall bot. You find it. You can use it to verify a number before you send. And then also you can also use it to report numbers. It's a very simple step. You go in there, put in your number, put the number of the person who is trying to scam you, whether it was on Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever the platform is, upload some evidence, and then, hey, you are good to go to set that person up so we can block and also report that number. In phase 2, we're coming up with also social accounts. We're coming up with Instagram accounts, social accounts that are impersonating or defrauding people as well. So make fraud wall your best bet. And like I said, if you don't want to use the website, you can also use the short code which we have, which is showing down the star. The short code is *920 *419, or you can use the fraud wall bot, and I have it down there. So visit any of these places to get your fraud wall, to get your security, especially when it has the money transaction safely done. So let's get to it. Let's have some fun. So last week when we started, I made mention that you're going to need a few things to be able to run this module locally. The first of them is Ollama, right? And what is Ollama again? Ollama practically is just a utility or tool that allows you to test run AI models locally on your machine, right? Or you can also, they have different views. And as you can see in here, there is, you can run the Llama, DeepSeek, Phi, Mistral, all of them, you can run them locally. It's an open source project that you can use to, run modules locally. So what you do is that you download and install Ollama, and I've done that already. So it's as simple as going to, click download, select your system, and then you can go. So once you have that installed, right, you can just simply do Ollama. In this case, I'm going to do list, so you can see the models that I have. In this case, I have the Qwen 2.5 because last week, which there were a lot of models that came out from DeepSeek, Qwen. You think about it, a lot of them. So I have the Qwen, which is I think I have the latest version, and then DeepSeek as well. However, I am not downloading all the model, and I said last week that the bigger the module, the smarter, but sometimes the slower it is. Now, the smaller the model, the faster it responds, and sometimes, the dumber it is, depending on the context and training. So question is, how do I do this? Well, you can go ahead and do Olama, either pull, right? Or you can do run. If you do run and the model is going to pull it and run it, right? So let me show you this. So how do I get this thing? Again, just a recap. If you go to models in Olama right here at the top, right? If you go here and I click on it, it shows me all the other models that I can. There's DeepSeek, there's Llama 3.3, there's 5.4, there is Llama 3.2, different Qwen, Qwen 2, Qwen 2.5, all these, various AI models. Now, if you want to try them locally, this is your best bet. Now, one thing to take note is that when you go to, for instance, when I did let's do the DeepSeek. So if you go to DeepSeek, as I mentioned, this is a 7 billion. The model with trained with 7 billion parameters, which is 4.7. And that's what we have. If I want to go all the way down to the full one, which is the 404, which my team is trying to download for us to install on a server, that goes all the way to 404 gigabytes, right? So we're using the 7 billion, which is a standard one. So to run this, once you have Olama installed, the simple thing you do mostly is just to copy this script or this command prompt, Olama run, DeepSeek, whatever the version is. And then by default, the R1 is connected to the 7 billion parameters. So that's what I did. And it's going to download the model for you to use. If you want to use, if you have a specific model that you want to try, like 5.4 from Microsoft, which was released 4 weeks ago, which is a 14 parameter, 14 billion parameter state of the art. So we can also try this as well. You can see the where it falls. So to do that, let's try this. Let me show you this. So I'm just going to call Olama run 5.4. Now I can do pull and run. And like I mentioned, if I do run, it's first going to pull it, and then you can use run to start the model. So it's as simple as that. You can do Olama run or pull. So I'm going to do the run. In this case, it's pulling the manifest. So this is going to take about 9. It's going to draw about 9 gigs. So whilst that's happening in the background, I'm just going to minimize it. So now we're pulling the Microsoft 5.4 or Pi 4, 5.4, Pi 4, whatever that is, model, how you're going to present it. Again, if it's the first time you're joining, welcome, good morning, good afternoon. This is Demystify Tech with Sam. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section, whether you're on YouTube, you're on Twitch, you're on Facebook, wherever you are, just drop your comments and then I'll answer you or try to solve that for you. So once you have that installed, right? So let's get Llama out. Now I mentioned that if you go to ChatGPT, all right, or you go to places like DeepSeek, okay. Now they all have a common UI that allows you to interact with your models, right? And as you can see, ChatGPT, this is ChatGPT. So I'll come and talk about all the other, cool stuff that has been released. The ChatGPT's operator that allows you to have an agentic feel of things, costs you about $200. If you don't have that money to spare, you want to still be able to do the automations and tell it to do this, schedule it to do that. That's what I want to show you today with another tool that has an open source version. Yes, you can also do it with Microsoft Power Automate Desktop and different things. But today, I'm going to focus on showing you how to do it with some open source tools. And subsequently in my episode, I'll show you how to do it either with Power Automate or some other automation tool. So you need a UI to be able to, interact with it. Like here for ChatGPT, you can have GPT-4, you can select the modules you want, GPT-4 with a scheduled task. You can use O1. You can, now use what we call they say the O3 mini with advanced reasoning. You can use that as well, or you can choose any of the models if you want to. So you need some kind of a UI, right, to be able to do this. Last week I showed you how to use a particular UI, which I like because it allows me to add local knowledge base. It allows me to ground my data in addition to the base knowledge base. So let's say I want to create some kind of AI model that has a base of DeepSeek, right? I can have that. And at the same time, I can now add my company data to it. But again, running locally. I'm being specific. All we did was run it locally in our environment and not necessarily put it into someone's cloud. There are tools like there's LM Studio. There is it what's the name again? Perplexity. I think there's even Grok. Different, I think it's GROQ. Yeah. Where is it? Oh, what did I type? GROQ AI, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so there's Grok. There's also Grok you can use. There's LM Studio. There is Chatbox. So there's another one. But for here, so this runs in the cloud, right? And allows you, so you see that even on their case, they're saying, hey, the DeepSeek R1 distilled llama 70B is now available on Grok. So it's the same thing. These are like online machines that are running these modules that they are exposing to you to use online. But again, in what I'm trying to do today, say, hey, if you are someone who is always paranoid about, I don't want my data to be in the cloud, I just want to do. If that's you, then that's what we're trying to do today, right? Run it locally. We saw that last week. I'm just going over the process again today, right? This week, so that we will be able to do some quick automation. So let's continue with it. So we are not using Perplexity. We are not using Grok. We are not using Chatbox. Don't worry about this. We just want to use what we are going to use is primarily running it locally. Now, the tool that we set up last week was called the OpenWeb UI. So OpenWeb UI is a tool we used to interface with our local AI model. Okay, so it requires you to have Docker. So I've already set up a Docker desktop instance running on my machine. So you're literally running the application within a Dockerized environment. Okay, so we have Docker running. Now, let's go see how our model is faring. So yeah, it's done 7.6 already. It's about 84%. Now, so when this happens, okay, after it's pulled the modules and installed on your machine or had it on your machine, it will directly allow you to interact with it in the console or in the terminal in our case. However, it's not that intuitive for anyone who wants to use it. So that's where the web UI comes in. And like I mentioned last week, we saw how to set up the web UI as well and then use it. So this is just quick recap to what happened last week for those who missed it, but the whole episode is on my channel, YouTube channel. You can go check it out. The link is going to be somewhere on the screen, but you can go check it out. So whilst we're waiting for this is done, this is spool, and now we're running 5.4 or Pi4, which is a Microsoft's model. It's supposed to be an SML small language model that's also still powerful. I believe it's trained using some distillation, so big model using to train, and it's not that heavy as well. So that is it. Now, when this is done, it would pop into the console or the terminal UI that allows you to interact with it. But we're going to go ahead and use the Open Web UI. Sorry. So to set it up quickly, it's not difficult. Like I mentioned, you need Docker. There's here. You need to copy this from the docs. So it's pretty much just running it in a Dockerized environment. So there's a Docker image that has been provisioned to have this. So you can run, and also that means you're running it locally, people. So you're not, in this case, you're not outsourcing anything to the cloud. You're running everything locally. I've tested this. Others have also tested it. It doesn't send any data to any of these AI models. Everything resides locally on your machine. That also means that, now let me show you, once you run that command, this is what happens. So let's go ahead and open Docker. It's going to pull the file and start running. It will pull the file, create a Docker instance for you locally on your machine. And then you would have a local version, right, of the Open Web UI running. And it's so interesting that it also connects to Ollama directly. So it will connect and tell you all the AI models you've downloaded using Ollama, and it can interface that for you in a UI. So let's see if this is done. Yeah, there you go. So now what you're seeing here is Ollama finishing downloading the Pi4 and now giving me a UI, a console UI to interact with it. So here I can go ahead and say, tell me about yourself. And this is 5.4. Let's see how fast this is going to reason. And hi guys, listen. So bear with me, okay? It's all these things, all this module and things you're seeing right now are all running locally on my computer. This same computer is what I am using to live stream. This same computer is what is hosting Olama. This same computer is what's hosting my Docker. So if at any point it feels a bit slow, please, my machine is trying is trying very hard. So just a FYI. So here it says I'm Phi, a language model developed by Microsoft. My purpose is to assist users by providing information and answering questions across a wide range of topics. I can help with explanation, guidance, and technical subject, general knowledge inquiry, and more. I strive to ensure my responses are accurate, clear, and respectful while prioritizing user privacy security, right? So this is it. However, I don't want to use this this terminal UI. So now if I do Olama list, it's going to tell me I have I did a wrong thing. So Olama list. So there you go. So it tells me I have 3 AI models installed. I have 5.4, Qwen 2.5, DeepSeek, R1, right? So with this side done and my Open Web UI deployed, so let's open where's my Docker? There you go. So this here is the Open Web UI Docker container that has been pulled into my local Docker instance, right? And exported onto port 3000 on my machine, right? So all this is running locally on my machine. So now I can go ahead and let's go back. So there you go. So I'm going to run the model. I'm going to run the, and the first time you do it, it will ask you to create an account. This doesn't go to the cloud. Guys, trust me. This doesn't go to the cloud. It all stays local, right? So now you can look at this that by default, because I selected to set run for, if you look at the top here, okay? If you look at the top at this point where it's asking you which of the models do I want to use, right? So you can see that I have DeepSeek here, I have Qwen 2.5, and then now I selected what I did 5.4. Because in Olama I set to run that one, it set it as my default model, right? And last week I showed you how to create your own custom model based off a base module. So what we did last week was, if you missed it, go check out the last week video. So what we did was we created our own module called Demystify Tech. The base was DeepSeek, but then we added a text file or a document to add more knowledge to it to let you know that, hey, if there is any question that comes towards Demystify Tech, this is the knowledge base for you to use, right? So we did that last week. So I'll go ahead and just select this for now. So at this point, this is running locally. So let's see, let's do this. Explain DeepSeek to me, DeepSeek AI to me as a 5-year-old. Let's see what it says. So thinking. Now, this is running locally on my machine. This has not gone out to the cloud, gone to some other environment to this. So this is currently running in my local environment, right? So so we ask it to explain to us what DeepSeek is as a 5-year-old. So already, all right, imagine you are a magical toy box that can find your favorite toys super fast, even when they are hidden at the bottom of many of other toys. DeepSeek AI is like a smart helper in a magic box. It helps you find answers or information very quickly on its computer brain for searching through lots and lots of books, stories, and pictures at once. Just like how sometimes you ask grown-up for help find a toy because they know where everything is. So kind of like, you get it. So as you can see, this is running, all this AI thing is running locally on my machine. So at least up until this point, right? Up until this point, we have you've understood how to leverage Olama, right? How to leverage Olama, Docker, and then using how do we call it, the open web UI. Now to the fun part. Okay, so question is, now I have access to AI. Now the thing is, a lot of people ask, how do I use it? Well, you can put it into your application, right? You can put AI into your application. It could be a search application, whatever the application is. Now, what I want to show you today is the ability to use, right, is the ability to leverage these modules, right, in automating your task. Now, ideally, you could do this with tools like Power Automate. You could do this like other things. But if you want to infuse some agentic or some AI things into your day-to-day activities or some automation, this is what I'm going to show you today. This is what today's session actually is about. Now, a lot of you know that for automation, if I am going to do automation, I would definitely be using Power Apps, right? So for me, Power Automate. Why did I say Power Apps? Power Automate, right? And yeah, Power Automate over the years has become very powerful, that allows you to do automations and all that, right? So yes, you can use Power Automate, infuse it with Microsoft AI services, and still be able to do that. That is not what I'm going to show in today's episode. Today I'm going to do an open source, everything open source, because today I'm trying to figure out, or we're trying to get to develop and use AI stuff on-prem, locally, without going to any cloud, right? So nothing goes to the cloud. So to do this, I'm going to talk about, well, there are a couple of tools if you want to use. So there's n8n.io. Now, hold on. Yes, I know a lot of you are going to scream, Sam, this is a cloud-based service. I see pricing. How are we going to use that? Hold up. Okay. Now, yes, N8N has a cloud version, right? That is hosted in the cloud. Now, I keep saying that throughout all these sessions and all these things I'm showing you, running it locally, you need to have a very solid, at the least, a gaming PC or a gaming console that at the least allows you to run these modules seamlessly, okay, without having to stress your machine. Now, if for some reason you don't have such powerful machines and you still want to try it, your other option is to go for cloud-based services. So you can use, that's why I talked about Grok, I talk about Perplexity, Chatbox. Those are all cloud-based systems that allow you to interact with it. However, like I said, a lot of people are not comfortable pushing their data and doing some of these automations on a cloud-based system that they're saying the data will go somewhere and all that. So today, in today's episode, I want to go an open source approach. And I noticed that N8N has got a community version that you can also run locally. Yes, they've got a community version that you can run locally. So in the local parlance where I'm saying, hey, I want to run everything local, that is why I chose to go with N8N. Like I said, I could have gone with Power Automate, or I could have gone with is it Zapier or Zapier or whatever that is. There is this one as well. But I don't believe, I have not found them having a community version of Zapier. I've not seen that, right? It is for N8N that I've seen that they have a community, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. In recent times also there is, I think it's called NoteMate. Is it late node or something? I'm not, let me see if I remember. Let's see. Late node. I think it's late node. Yes, that's it. So the other one that also, but it's also like you need a trial, right? It's called the late node. It's also on automation. They're saying it's a no code automation thing. But again, I haven't seen them having a community version that I can run locally. And for that matter, that is why I'm going with N8N, because N8N has a community edition here that allows you to, use it, right? So instead of doing it in the cloud, you can go ahead and do it locally, okay? So let's say get started. It would ask you, so there are two ways Let's actually go back. Sorry, there are two ways to run this. Okay, they have the node modules where you're going to run it as a global node, or you can run it as how do you call it? You can run it in a Docker container, right? So let's go ahead. Where was that? Community. You know what? Let's go to, where is that, man? Man. Let's go to pricing. Yeah, there you go. So here, the community edition. So view docs. Now, I've tested this demo on the cloud version, okay? And I want to see if we can run this. So just to show to you, I'm going to go ahead and go to my, I know someone will say, hey, Simon, let's be sharing these things. Let me move this here. Let's see. So I'm going to move my calendar a little. So what I want to do now is to connect, right, to do some kind of automation, right? So maybe you want to be able to have an automation that checks your Google Calendar, see what you have in terms of event, and then you want to automate it to do something else. Okay, so we can try that. So let's do this. So I want to show you first what I did in the cloud, how I did it, and then we can just try to replicate the same thing when it comes to when it comes to running it locally. So this is a self-hosted option, like I mentioned. So you can have a Docker, right? You can run it using a Docker installation, or you can also run it as NPM. And NPM in the sense that you're running it as an application globally on your machine, right? So if you want to use Docker, that's fine. If you want to use NPM, Docker is just going to be, you're just running it in a Docker instance, just like we're running the web thing into it. So to do, I'll probably, it's quite simple. If you want to go with a Docker route, they're telling you, hey, if you want to go with a Docker route, this is what you do. You can just run these things, Docker volume.create and Docker volume.run, and then you can access it by, copying to this. So that's how to run it locally. But quickly, let me show you what I want to do. So I'll go ahead and sign in and show you the automation that I created. I'm sure they're going to send me a magic link or something. So today is 7th, right? And then, so this is the example that, just to show you, I'm going to walk you through what this is, how I did it, and all that. So this is anything, right? This is the cloud version, but like I said, I'm just going to use this to illustrate to the fact that you can connect agents to it. So it begins with a chat trigger, right? So I send a chat message, and then I'm using an AI agent, right? Now for every AI agent action, you can select a model, you can select and has, the memory where to use that, and you can select the tool. So the tool here, I connected it to my Google Calendar, right? For it to pick stuff from my Google Calendar and tell me what's happening and all that. So let's say I want to, so when you select your model, right? Let me open the model and explain to you. So this might not run because, well, initially I tried to use an OpenAI account. That didn't work because I think I was reaching the end of the token for OpenAI. So that it did just one and then it stopped. But the concept or the idea is I want to be able to chat. My message will be sent to an AI model for AI model to make that inference and do the understanding, the natural processing, whatever. And then based on the content of it, go out and fetch stuff for me. So let me see if I can run this again. So it has, they have a chat feature. So let me, let's reduce this here. So we know that this is our action. I'm doing this because at some point you can see the flow. So if I go ahead and say, hey, tell me what what event I had on my calendar yesterday. So like I mentioned, yesterday was my father's birthday and it was on my calendar. So hopefully this should go back and tell me what I had on my calendar like yesterday. So let's see. Let's make sure we're telling it. So I can say, hey, tell me what event I had on my calendar yesterday, and I run this. Now, okay, so like I mentioned, there's going to be an error because, as you can see here, the flow ran, or the automation ran, but then there was an error when it was trying to communicate with the model. It says insufficient quota detected. So this is what I was saying, because at this point, it was going to the cloud, right? It was trying to go to OpenAI because I use that subscription in the cloud to run it. But we want to run, we can start with, right now in our, where is that? In our, let's do Ollama list. We have Phi, we have Qwen, we have DeepSeek, right? So let's connect it to DeepSeek. So how do you connect that to DeepSeek? So I want to show you the output first, and then we'll go ahead and try to run everything locally. So for the agent, okay, I'll go here. I won't use the OpenAI model. So let's close this. So I'll go ahead and let's delete this, okay? And I'm going to add a new, I'll still do, and there's a cool thing I like about it. So you see that on the left here, just as I was saying, you can use a lot of these models, right? So you can use an Ollama. Here you can see, you can use like an Ollama model, you can use an OpenAI model, you can, connect it to Azure, Anthropic, you can connect it to any of them that you want. But you see, in our case, we want to use Ollama. So I'm going to select Ollama. And in here, it would ask me, right, which Ollama module do I want to use? All right. So I can go ahead and say, hey, you can, if you have an Ollama account, that's it. But if you don't have an account, you can set it up. So I can go ahead and say, hey, I want to set up an Ollama account, and I want to use, now because it's not connected to any instance yet. So what you do is that if you come up here to the Ollama chat settings and you click on here, it would allow you to set it up. Now, remember, we are running Ollama locally, okay? If you look into my tags, you can see that over here, I am running Ollama. I'm running Ollama locally, okay? So how do I set up? So it's asking for a base URL of how to connect to my Ollama. Now, I tried this the last time. So if you, for some reason, it didn't work. So I had to tunnel it. So now, don't worry, I'll explain all that. So if I run my Ollama, okay, and I open the server logs, let me sort it by the time. And I open the server logs of my local Ollama instance, right? It's going to tell me the port and everything it's running on. So where is that? So you see, so it's running, Ollama is running all on localhost, the 127. That's where it's running, okay? And it's running all the way on this, as you can see, all the models, file models, all that information about Ollama, that's running locally here for me. So it's running locally, okay? So and I want to access it. So a couple of things here. You can try to put it in here. So you see the port is 11434. That's the default port. So this is where it's listening to. Let me zoom in so you can see. If you look at the resource, it's saying that Ollama is listening on this port. So 127.0.0.0.1, and the port is 11434. Okay, so this is the port where Ollama is running. So if I copy this and I come and try this on, where is that? Here. Okay, if I come and try this here and I retry the connection, it's going to fail because it can't tunnel to my local machine. Are you with me, guys? It can't tunnel to my local machine. So how do I do that? How do I tunnel, or how do I do that? So then comes in another tool called ngrok, right? So that's another tool called ngrok. So what I can do is that I can go ahead and run this, because I know, and guys, let me just do this, okay? So if you don't know what ngrok is a simple tool that allows you to tunnel and run local stuff or local ports, like things running on your local machine, make it accessible or forward it to the internet so the internet can connect to it. All right, that's what ngrok does. Okay, so I used ngrok and say that, hey, I need you to give me a tunnel for this service, in this case, which is Ollama, right? Give me a tunnel to this, there you go, this service or this application running locally on my machine, okay? And this goes ahead to create a tunnel. So this has created a tunnel for me. So currently, if I now want to let my cloud version, right, of N8N understand this is what is going to happen, right? So I'm just going to select this. So now it is going to know that, hey, this is where you can find my local version of Ollama. There you go. So now this N8N cloud version is connected locally to my Ollama instance, which is forwarded thanks to ngrok. Right? If you're following, give me a thumbs up. And this is the point I ask you to subscribe to the channel if you like it, if you're having fun to it, because I need your numbers to grow the channel so I can be motivated and encouraged to give you more action like this. If you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and hit the notification bell, subscribe, and also share this for someone to see it. Now that you've agreed to subscribe and, like my channel, let's continue. All right, so let's go. Great. So now N8N understands or is aware of where ngrok and my Ollama version is. So now we have Ollama. Now take a look at this. Okay. So because it's now connected, check this out. Do you see this? These are all the 3 models that we just downloaded. We have DeepSeek, we have Pi 4, we have Qwen 2.5. Okay. Today, I didn't see Gilbert. Yesterday, a friend of mine called me and said he's always been on the show and I've not been giving him funds. Gilbert NT, special request. I'm giving you a shout out for always joining the show. Thank you very much, my brother. So this, because we are now connected to the local instance of our Ollama, you can see that we have 3. All right. Are you with me, guys? So we have all the 3 modules right here. So let's go ahead and just let's use 5.4 because that's the latest one I've downloaded, but you can also go ahead and use DeepSeek R1. That's fine. So select this and then we go back. Now, remove this here. So now let's go over our flow. We're saying that, hey, I'm going to do a chat, run whatever I say into this AI agent. And in the AI agent, I need you to be using Ollama. And then also, I need you to also, you have the tools, means you have access to my Google Calendar. So when I click this, I can give it access to, it can do an HTTP request, it can do a code, it can go to a Postgres database, it can use Supabase, it can use a Gmail tool, that is, it can send an email, it can go to Google Docs, it can go to, so if you like, let's add this. And in the credential, I can say, let's create a new credential. And I'll go ahead and use a Google sign in. And this is going to go through the flow. And it's going to allow me, I'm just saying that, hey, I want to connect to my Google account. If you allow any class, you will ask you to review the account, access to Gmail data every 6 months. Yes, I agree. I wanted to be able to read and compose emails, manage drafts, view email messages, so let's say I'm giving, please, this is just a test. I'm going to discontinue it, but just to give you an idea. All right. So connection has been successful. And then now it's saved. I can close this. So take a look at that. So I can say the tool description, you can set it automatically, that's fine. Now see the operation, I want it to be able to send, right? So if I want to send a message, whoever I want it to send, the type. Now these are parameters that I can pass, so now be mindful of this. See, I have operations like send, reply, remove. So I can pass all these things as parameters from OpenAI to do that. Okay. So we're going to test something right now. Now that is already connected. So now, oh, what's happening? What did I miss? Oh, okay. Let me just see test. Let me see AI demos, and let's send it to me. I just want to make sure this connector is let's say that's fine. So I just want to make sure this connector is connected. So yeah, so all our tools are okay. So we've connected Gmail to it. We have a Gmail calendar. We have a memory so it can actually store and retrieve stuff. And we've also connected it to an AI agent, which is Olama, locally pointed to what we have. Okay, so let's reset the chart and start again. So let's go here, and I'm going to reduce this so you can see it run. So I'm going to call the same message again. I'm saying, hey, so let's look at this message, guys. So I'm saying, this is what I'm asking it. I'm saying, hey, tell me what event I had on my calendar yesterday, right? And like I said, yesterday was my father's birthday, and it was on my calendar, right? So let's see if I'm trying to, okay, you know what? I'm going to bring something out for safety's sake. I don't want to expose a lot of things. So I'm going to take a screenshot of my, okay, so this is it, right? So I'm going to bring this up. So as you can see, so I don't expose everything here. So as you can see from, so yesterday was the 6th here, and that was my father's birthday. And then, there are other, people's birthdays in my calendar. So my father's birthday was on the 6th, and yeah, my school son and my friend's birthday were all like 5th and 6th, right? Today's 7th. So just so we know that it is on my calendar. So let's see how we can so I'm saying, hey, tell me what event I had on my calendar. Let's run this and let's see what happens. What did he say? You don't have access to credentials in Gmail node. Ask the owner. You know what? Let me just delete this so that it doesn't mess up our. Let's delete this, guys. Oh, no. Cancel. Let's remove this node. So let's deactivate the node. Delete it. Save. So let's just stick with the calendar for now. So there you go. I'm going to ask you the same question again. And there you go. Well, register Olama simulators does not support tools. Okay, don't worry. So now the error we are getting now is saying that the registry Olama DeepSeek doesn't support tools. Don't worry. So let's go ahead, double click on this, and we'll change it. I'm going to change it from DeepSeek, and let's try the 541 latest. Let's try this and see. So I'm going to go back, and now let's make sure that, yeah, so this is using 5.4, and I'm going to run the same thing here again. Let's see. Are we sure this is running? Just a sec. Let me make sure that my okay, yeah, that's running. API fine. Okay, that's fine. So it's still running on this port. That's cool. Okay, so let's see what. Let me copy this. Let's go here. Let me change the model again. Let's try Qwen 2.5. Save this. I'm just changing now. So what I'm doing is just trying to show you, see how that I can pick through all the models that are running locally on my machine. Okay, so let's try this again. Run this. Check it out. So I changed it to Qwen 2.5, And let's run. Let me. So you see, you can see what's happening here. The AI agent is processing that information, and it stores something in memory. It's gone through my Outlook to my calendar to pick stuff. It's processing it. There you go. See, it went to my calendar, came back to the chat agent to kind of like recraft or craft the response that is going to give me. So if you're wondering what just happened, this is what happened. I sent a message through the chat. The chat was sent to the AI agent. The AI agent used Ollama model running locally on my machine, running the Qwen 2.5 model to infer what I was asking, because I wanted to know what was on my calendar. And look at what happened. It went ahead to connect to my calendar, collected the information, got all that information, brought it back to the Ollama local model running Qwen 2.5 to craft the response. And ladies and gentlemen, check this out. This is the response. It says that based on the event from your calendar yesterday, February 6, 2025, you had 2 birthday celebrations, right? So this one is actually tomorrow. I don't know why I picked it, but there you go. Your father's birthday. Yeah, this was on the set. So this, okay, I think I understand why it picked it, because it picked it all the way to midnight and then pushed it in. So you can see here, it told me my father's birthday. So you can view more details of this event by clicking on their respective links. And so depending on the access I gave it from, my, I gave it from my, the calendar tool here, right? This particular calendar tooling. So it's being able to do that. So I can say that, let's continue to have a conversation with it and say that, it is, I can say thank you. It was my father's 75th birthday. Help me wish him a happy and blessed birthday with an appreciative and what's the word? What appreciative and what? What? Let's say an appreciative, message. Okay, and check it out. What's happening again? Because we have the file, the AI is processing what I have said, and it's going to say, "Hey, what does this guy want?" This guy is saying that he needs a message for his father's 75th birthday. Okay, can I process it, store that information, and pass it on to, there you go. No, so it came back to Ollama, asked it, and now check this out, people, ladies and gentlemen. So, can you see this? So this is it. Hi, Dad. Wishing you a very special day today on your 75th birthday. May this year be filled with joy, good health, and all the love and happiness that life has to offer. Your strength and wisdom continue to inspire me every day. Thank you for always being there for us, supporting us through thick and thin. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for our family. Happy birthday, Dad. Let's celebrate together with a memorable day full of laughter and joy. Love, my name. Now, all this is automated, guys. This is automated, leveraging an automation tool like N8N, and then running Ollama, a local version of Ollama, running Qwen 2.5 on my machine, right? Now, wow, 5 minutes. Time really flies when you're having fun with some of these things. Now, so here's the case. Guys, we set up Ollama, right, using, as you can see, all the messages and JSON coming in are tracked. And this, in this case, is being forwarded to my local Ollama instance, right? So we're running Ollama locally. And then we did a port forward using ngrok, okay? So you realize that, check this out. If I should end the ngrok session and go back, right? And go back here and say, tell me the event, or let's say, what other events do I have coming up? Okay, and there you go. Immediately, you see that there's an error. There's an ngrok error because the local ngrok endpoint I am pointing to running locally is off because I was port forwarding to it. So if you don't want to use the cloud version of N8N, right, to do the same automation. Now look, like I said, this is just a very simple example. Imagine, let me give you a scenario, okay, before we go and quickly set it up. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine that you're running a business, right, and you have a table or an Excel sheet or a OneDrive that is full with all your customers' information, right? Their birthdays and all that. And you can use Olama to actually make this as an operator. Run a schedule every morning, go through it, look at the customer's birthday, use the model to craft a very beautiful message, and then send it to them, right? You can do this automation, act as an operator, and ChatGPT AI operator for you at a cost of running it locally in your own infrastructure, okay? So how many minutes? We have 3 minutes quickly. So let's try and set up. And like I said, guys, you can run this locally again, okay? So let's go with N8N. Let's try to use the Docker example, okay? So it says that we need to run this one. Actually, let me copy the whole of this. This is if you want to run it in a Docker way, or if you want to do NPM, right? NPM is going to download all the things onto your machine. No, I want to go the Docker way. So let's copy this quickly, guys. We'll do this before we end our stream. I wanted to share this content with you, and I'll share it with you very soon. So let's go ahead and run this. So where is my console? I'll open another one. We'll run this. We'll do Docker create volume. So it's created a Docker volume called N8N data. And then we'll go ahead and tell Docker, hey, go and pull this Docker image, and this is the data file you want to use to it. So let's go. It says what? Unable to find Docker. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because it was checking if it was there before it pulled it. So what's happening is this is going out to pull down the Docker files for N8N locally. Now, when this happens, okay, it means that I can now run N8N locally, the community version, which is the same as what's running, which is what they've hosted in the cloud. And then now all my operations are no longer connected to the cloud. Are you with me? So it means that all my operations are not connected to the cloud, apart from the connectors I want to give access to. So for instance, if I still wanted to connect to my my Google Calendar, right? As for that one, I need to give it access to be able to go out of my local environment and connect to my Google Calendar or any other third-party tool I want to give my local application access to. So when you do that, then you are running a full autonomous AI operator. Okay? You're running a full autonomous AI operator locally in your own environment without having to go to anybody's environment. So as you can see, it says that it is accessible here. So I'll copy this and come and paste it here. So now check this out. This is a complete N8N. Guys, it's not a joke. Look, it's running locally right here. This is running locally. So you have a complete N8N automation running locally on your, and this setup account is not going to the cloud, right? It's storing it on your local instance. So I can go here and say, this is the email. My first name is Samuel. My last name is Adrani, and I'm going to give a password. I'm going to put a password there. Oh, let's do this. And next, now this is going to create the account on my local Docker instance. It's not going to go to it's not going to store any of these things in the cloud. So now take a look at this. We have a local AI model, DeepSeek Qwen 2.5 or Phi or Pi of Phi, right? We have that module. So you have your AI model locally. We have your Docker instance that's running your Open Web UI locally. And then now we have a local open source automation platform also running locally. And you can virtually do just about the same thing that I did in the cloud here, running locally on your machine. So all I need to do once it's done creating my account is just come, I can come back and replicate the same thing. I want to do a chat, AI model, put a this, and then connect it to it and run that. And this time around, because both my Olama and the N8N environment, right, are all running locally. Yes, I'll add the password to my password manager. Because they are all running locally, I don't need to do any port forwarding to expose myself. So here, what best describes, I'll probably say I'm not using it for work. Yeah, whatever. What I'm using it for. How did you hear about us? I'll say Google. Let's make them happy. It's not going anywhere. This is running locally. So let's go. Yeah, that's it. It's on the way. It's not going to go anywhere, but pretty much it's all running locally. So from scratch. So this, what you saw here, this is it. I'm going to do the same thing. So the first step is chat. So this is a chat trigger. Go back. So this is a chat trigger. And then from here, I did an AI agent from here. And the AI agent, we need a chat model. And I can do Olama. And now, check this out. Check this out. I'm going to, let's go here. So it was on localhost 11434, right? So now I can say that, let me create a new connection. You see, it automatically picked, and then let's save this, testing. Credentials says, what is it saying? Could not connect with these settings, more details. I think there's connection refused. That I can, it's a firewall thing. So right now, locally on my machine, I need to go and open the firewall thing. But I guess you get in the picture, right? So with this now, or sometimes you can just do 127.0.0.1. Retry again. Yeah, I just have to go and open the firewall for this port to allow it instead of port tunneling it. But close this, go back, and then so you have the model here, and then memory. I can say I'm using a Windows buffer memory is the easiest. Session, that's it. Memory to store this, I'm not using any. And then the tool, I'll go ahead and do. So you see, the Google Calendar tool. That's it. So select this, and you see. So that's what I did. It's just the same thing. The parameters, event, starts, use the diff. So that's primary. So, and the rest is just providing that information. So if you look at it, right? If you look at it this way, this is the same thing I did in the cloud version, but now all happening locally, right? So I can run this locally. So that's pretty much it. It's seeing all the only thing is just to configure and set it up. But this is now running locally, right? It is not on the cloud any longer. So thank you very much, guys, for another episode joining me on Demystify Tech. If this sounded like something that you want to see me do, at least every Friday, Demystify. This season, I'm doing a lot of stuff on AI, Copilot, AI stuff. So this week or today, you've seen us, use all open source tools to test things like DeepSeek, Qwen 2.5, Olama, and all that, running it locally and also using it to do local automations. I've just shown you a simple example of using it to infer stuff in your calendar. Imagine the possibilities of what you can do. Being a reward, customer reward, you can pipe it to events that happen in you can use it to do all that. So thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you a lot. And I'm hoping that I catch you again next week, Friday. And please do well to subscribe to the channel so that we can grow it and I can bring you more goodness. With this said, peace. I'm out. Let's make the world a better place. I'll catch you next week. We are out of here.